please.
This public meeting is being live streamed. This meeting is also being recorded and will be archived on the city's YouTube channel and a link added to the website. This recording is being made in compliance with Indiana's open door law. The recording, along with any agenda and minutes, will be made available for public inspection under the Indiana Access to Public Records Act. The recording will be retained for a minimum of 90 days. This recording is not the official minutes of the meeting, and all those in attendance are consenting to being recorded. Mitchell's YouTube channel is City of Mitchell IN. All right, we are here to discuss and listen regarding the purchase and conversion of the Church of God property located at the corner of Frank and 4th Street into housing for seasonal migrant farm workers. This meeting is an opportunity for open dialogue where questions can be asked, concerns can be voiced, and information shared. Mr. Gomez has been kind enough to come up from Florida to answer questions regarding his business operations and his plans for his property in our city. He has made it clear that his workers will be good neighbors and a positive part of our community. The procedures that we are going to follow tonight for the meeting are as follows. If you wish to speak, you were to sign in. If there was anyone else, I've got 2 signatures here. If anyone else wants to sign in right now, you may do so. All right, and secondly, when you're called on to speak, please come up to the podium, because that you are being live streamed, and that way you'll be on the video. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and I would ask that everyone conduct themselves in a respectful and polite and courteous manner during this meeting. One thing that I want to do to begin with is repeat a post that I put on Monday for those of you that haven't seen it. I posted a summary update that listed some facts regarding this project. I will read the post for those that, like I said, have not seen it, also so that it can be part of the public record. The post read as follows. Happy Monday, fellow citizens. I want to present some facts prior to our public hearing this Thursday, December 18th, regarding seasonal migrant farm workers in our city. Mr. Jose Gomez appeared before the council last month outlining his plans to purchase the church property at the corner of Frank and 4th Street and convert it to housing for approximately 90 seasonal farm workers from early August to early October, the harvest season. Our city attorney has reviewed our city zoning and concluded that no zoning changes are required, as the intended use is residential and the property is currently zoned residential. Mr. Gomez does have to meet all state guidelines regarding square foot per resident, restroom facilities, etc. Mr. Gomez did this with the former church building in Odin 3 years ago. I talked with the town clerk to get background on their history with the migrant workers. She said there were some initial concerns by the citizens in the beginning, but after 3 years, they are glad that they are there. She further stated that they are polite. They spend money at local establishments such as restaurants, the dollar store, and the laundromat. They usually travel in small groups since several do not speak English. They will be out walking due to the fact that they don't have cars. They are transported to the farm fields by school bus. The crew that is going to be housed here has been staying in motels in Scottsburg. I talked with the mayor's office in Scottsburg and got the same positive reaction from him. Chief Lebowski spoke with the sheriff in Scotts County and the town marshal in Odin, and the sheriff in Scottsburg specifically stated he wished all his own citizens would behave as well as the migrant workers. On the plus side, there will be further investment in Mitchell. We have 2 empty buildings that will be remodeled and that will pay property taxes. Money will be spent in local businesses. Also, all the migrants that are here have got green cards, and they have been fully vetted by the U.S. government. And they also sign a contract with Mr. Gomez's company that states rules of conduct, and any violation of those rules, and they can be sent back home. So, as I said in my post, the bottom line, this is a done deal. Mr. Gomez has already purchased the property. This purchase and the intended use as migrant housing does not require any city approval. Indiana law applies to all residential uses that are larger than duplex housing. Our job is to make this transition as smooth as possible. We must be welcoming and embrace the economic benefits that will flow from Mr. Gomez's investment in our city. As I said, that was posted Monday. Just to give you some background, at this time, I will ask Mr. Gomez if he would like to make a few opening remarks before we go to a question and answer period.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to thank council and the citizens for giving me the opportunity or for your time to briefly explain who we are. Our company harvests fruits and vegetables in the area. We start from the Vincent side all the way to near Louisville. We're only here seasonally. We're not, we're not from this area. So staying, in the different towns, we go through here every day. I mean, I've been going through Mitchell for the last 3 years every day, but never really stopped in Mitchell until this property came up for sale, and I looked at it, and it's very similar to the property that we have in Odin. So what our company does is we travel. We're from South Florida. Then we travel, the different states, Georgia, and then we finish in Indiana. Everywhere we go, we stay in motels. This state is the state where we stay the longest, so we found out that it's easier to manage our workforce when we have a facility that we manage. In motels, hotels, it's slightly different because they're in individual rooms. We like to have we like to be close with our workers. Each one of our crews has our crews are a minimum of 50 men per crew, and each crew has 2 men supervisor. Like the mayor said, we transport them in these old school buses, which are certified by the Department of Labor. Otherwise, we can't move them around. And it takes, although 50 people seems like a lot, when you have them in a group, it's easier to control. When I say control is, we have strict rules. These workers, they're all here on a temporary visa. There's a program, it's called H-2A program, that the federal government allowed contractors to bring these temporary workers because we just don't have the workforce in the country to provide all these fruits and vegetables for our stores. So through the Mexican government and the U.S. government, they both do a background check on all these workers. They're the ones that approve who gets to come and who doesn't. So we submit a petition. There's a process. It's like a 75-day process that starts in Mexico and it finishes it at the U.S. Consulate, in the state, in the country, in Mexico country. They do the final reviews, and then once they do an approval, they'll notify us, and we get to bring these workers. Each state, it's on its own. You know, we usually bring them in Florida, then from Florida, we have to transfer them to Georgia. Well, there's still legal paperwork that has to transfer those workers to every state. So when we come up here, is the same thing. You know, they're all here on a valid temporary visa. I want to, you know, I want people to understand that we don't just pick workers from the streets. All of this, there is a website that anyone can go to and verify these legal documents. You know, our contracts are on that website. It tells you a little bit about the H-2A program. Let me see if I can find it here. So, like I said, anyone can look this. This is public information. It's nothing that we have under the table. It's public information. Anybody can look it up, and they can see our company. You can literally see every contract that we have in whatever state we're in. So that lets you know that it's a legal process that anyone can review and understand more. Because the H-2A workers, they do have rules that they have to go by from our company and from the U.S. government. You know, they and just a quick example. At the end of their contract, they cannot stay and travel the country. They have to go back home within 10 days, you know, from their expiration date. That's how much they give them. If they have family, they can go visit those families in 10 days, and then they need to go home. If they don't go home, they don't get to come back. So the majority of these workers return. Most of our workers are what we call repeats. They keep coming with us, and so they understand. One of the things that I tell people where we go, Mexico has a different culture. So we try to inform them that what we do in Mexico, we can't do here. It takes a little bit for them to understand, but because 90% of the workers that we have already been here for, you know, with our company 6-7 years, they understand, you know, they can't be running around, especially walking. In Mexico, they walk a lot because their walking distance are so short. Here, even to go to the dollar store, you're gonna have to walk 2-3 blocks, you know, and it's just an assumption. But over there, they have a convenience store in every corner, so their walking distance is not like it is here. But nevertheless, you will see them walk in groups, you know, and you know, they're just like any of us. They go buy their groceries. They go to the dollar store. They like thrift stores a lot. Some of this stuff they buy to take back home because even though they take it all the way home, it's cheaper to take it from here than it is to buy it over there. And so anyway, that's why they go to local thrift stores, dollar stores, the grocery store. They are a positive thing for the community. We also have a lot of supervision. We also, like with the town of Odin, when we first came in there, we offered that if we give our guys have they have a curfew, which is 11 p.m. And the deputy, I think they have 2 or 3 deputies, we both agreed that it was a good idea for him to go around the block, and that is just an assurance, and it also lets our workers know that, you know, curfew is up. We need to go inside. They don't need to go to bed, but they need to go inside the building. So that gave the town a peace of mind that you don't have people walking at 2-3 o'clock in the morning throughout town with you know, they have no business doing that. So you will never see them do that because we gotta get ready for the next morning. We spend most of our time out in the field, 7 days a week. Doesn't mean we work 7 days a week, but usually the only time we have off is on a rainy day. You know, every now and then it depends on orders, but the majority of the time, I feel very confident to say that 90% of the time that we're here, we'll be out in the fields. You know, you will not see them every day, 90 people roaming through the town of Mitchell, because that's impossible. We spend most of our time working. Why we pick Mitchell? Because we have a regulation. The company only has 60 miles travel distance for these workers. You can't travel any longer than that. So we look for the places that were close to the farms where we work at. And Mitchell, you know, it falls in the qualification for Scottsburg, where we have one of our farms. Another one of our farms is in Fredericksburg. We harvest pumpkins over there. Another one of our farms, it's in Bologna, just like 40 minutes from here. So we're literally right in the center of where we need to be. And then, you know, we saw the property come up for sale. One of the things that I wanted everybody to know is that we wanted y'all to know who we are. We didn't just want to come in here and, like the mayor said, even though the city attorney is saying that, you know, we are allowed to do what we want to do, we want the town to know who we are. If you know, they can call us anytime. Our office is open from 8 to 5. And then on off hours, my cell is always available. My supervisors do always answer. You know, we have our supervisors, they stay with our workers. Why? Because there is more control when we do that. They don't just, if there's nobody there, then they're not gonna follow the rules. Well, when we have somebody there, if they don't follow the rules, there's somebody there to let them know. And so, but let me get back to this website so any of you can go to it. It is called seasonaljobs.dol.gov. If you go onto that website, you'll be able to see not just from our company, any contractor out there that uses the H-2A workers. It's on this website. You know, you can look it up. You can understand the program. Like I tell everybody, I know it's intimidating when you hear 90 men, but it's you will not see the groups of 90 men out there. You know, we do. I mean, we do go to the grocery store and we do take them as a group, but our buses never carries more than 50 people. That's all you can fit. So, and they don't all go at the same time. So usually we make 2 to 3 trips a week. So you're not going to see 50 men. You're not going to see 90 men at the grocery store. You're not going to see 90 men at the dollar store. Yes, you're probably going to see 20, 25, or you'll see them in a group of 5, 6. You will see that. I can't not say that won't happen. But overall, these men are very respectful. They don't speak English, but they all use, you know, we all use a cell phone. They all use an app. So how do they communicate? They pull out their phone and they talk to anybody. And then you can talk to the phone and lets them know what it is, because a lot of times things are misunderstandings. And we've had that. You know, we've had that in other places. We've been 2 years ago in Scottsburg. There was we had really bad we had a really bad reputation over social media, but it wasn't even us. You know, a lot of this, I think they said Seymour is a sanctuary city, and a lot of the South American people were coming into Seymour, and they thought that's what we were. And they would go on social media and said we was dropping off illegals in every corner. Well, again, that was just because they didn't know who we were. Once they knew what the program is, the following year, everybody understood, because we didn't have any issues. But we had the mayor call their office, we had the sheriff department call their office, DOT called their office because of our transportation buses. And so we have, everything was up to date, everything was in compliance. Once they saw that, everybody understood, well, we're just here seasonally. And this last year, I'm sorry, we call it last year because our season's over. This year, we didn't have any problems. But again, I want the town to know that we want to do everything that's in our hands to be good neighbors, and for you to know that all these men come to do is work. They don't drink. We don't allow drinking. We don't allow drugs. Drinking alcohol, drugs. We don't even, and one of the reasons we don't allow this, the program doesn't even allow visitors to stay with them. They can come visit them, but they can't stay at the same housing quarters with their workers. There's a lot of limitations that the government doesn't want, and we follow those strictly. Plus, we have our own regulations. Our company has their own regulations that it's sort of ensured the places where we go to that we're not going to cause any trouble. At the same time, we're always there for any issues, misunderstandings, or any questions. There's always going to be somebody there to answer, whatever it may be. You need it again?
Your website, you mentioned the website.
The website is seasonaljobs.dol.gov. And by the way, that's the site that any U.S. worker can also petition for a job with the company. We don't get very many applicants. This is one of the reasons why we have to go through this program, because what we do is hard work. We with these men, our company wouldn't exist, but it would be hard to bring all these vegetables and fruits to our grocery stores. It's a job that I don't even want to do. It's hard. It's hot. But again, it's a source that allows us to be able to do what we do for our country, really, because more and more, I want to say probably 70% of any farm work, it's through these H-2A workers. I mean, they're the ones that are willing to come do it for us, and the government allows us to, if we all follow the rules, they allows us to bring these workers. Again, they decide, because both the U.S. and the Mexican government are the ones that do the background checks. We choose who we want to bring, but if they have any issues, whether it's in the U.S. or in Mexico, they don't allow them to come under the program. It's a very strict program, which is a good thing, because that helps us do a better job. That helps us, make the people everywhere we go to, people get intimidated because they see these big groups, you know, and I understand that. I'll be intimidated too. But once they get to know us, or once they get to know the workers, they understand that these men they're just here for a short season, and then they get to go home. And, you know, that's kind of all I can say. If you have any questions for me, I can.
Before we start the public comments, things you mentioned last time you were here, is the workers' age limit is 18 to 50.
18 to 50. 18 to 50 is
So,
the age limit.
The way young kids are, all, as you said, it's physical work.
Yes.
And, I know I've been asked things, you know, can they be used somewhere else? And I said, from my understanding, with the paperwork, they're designated for those employers, those farmers.
Yes.
And like if you have a rainy week, and somebody says, well, I need to borrow some of your guys, that's not allowed. They have to stay with.
Correct, because it's, the H-2A visa is only agriculture.
Right.
A lot of people misunderstand it, and they think because they're here, they can go work construction. They're strictly approved to do agriculture work. If we deviate from that, then we're breaking the rules. So yes, it's only agriculture.
Yeah, and that's, you gotta stay with their stipulations and.
Correct.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez.
Thank you. Thank y'all very much.
All right, under public comments, Warren, I believe you're first.
Number one tonight. You're number one tonight.
Okay, well, I don't have comments, I have questions for Mr. Gomez. He's in a different conversation.
He's got questions.
I'm sorry. I'm involved with a couple of nonprofit organizations here in the city. One of them is Regeneration Thrift Store. Tell all your guys who like thrift stores, it's the best little corner in Mitchell. No plug intended, but my question to you is, first of all, when they do go to stores, we do transact business in U.S. currency?
Yes.
I don't have to worry about current, okay.
No.
And because our foreign language skills in all languages other than English is extremely limited to non-existent in that store, you say normally when a group comes, there will be somebody that would be able, or using the phones as you mentioned.
They will use the phones. We do have some of the workers
Okay,
that, believe it or not, in Mexico, they had taken English when they were in high
Oh, yes.
school. So
I traveled in Mexico.
you will have some of them that can get by, but the majority of them have a cell phone.
Okay, all right, thank you. The other organization I'm involved with is the local food pantry. And you mentioned going to the grocery stores. And again, we operate under a very strong non-discrimination policy. But again, we have limited language skills. But would I expect your workers to come visit us at the food pantry? They're certainly welcome and we will certainly serve them. I just want to be prepared both in volume and if I have to try to find some Spanish language skills to have on hand, I would like to be prepared to do that.
Well, we always have a supervisor. Our supervisors do speak English.
Okay,
So you're always gonna be able to get a hold of one of my supervisors.
Okay.
And you can explain to him what you want,
okay,
and he can certainly
okay. But
arrange.
in the areas where you've had people before, do they take advantage of the local food pantries?
They do.
They do, okay.
The first year we came to Odin, some of the nonprofits there's a town park. In a couple occasions, they actually made like burgers and hot dogs for them,
Well,
and they all went. So
we may not be doing that for you, but you're welcome. Certainly welcome to the food pantry, but I just wanted to, if I have to start recruiting people, Spanish language skills, I better start at it, because those people are few and far between around here.
Oh, yes. Well, like I said, I don't think you can have that problem because they're really handy with those cell phones.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. That's
Yeah,
all.
may I add something? May I ask? When you do come to town, could you make your supervisors, contact information available to the city hall, to the mayor?
Absolutely. I can
And
even
that
email.
way, if people need to get a hold of them for some reason, they can communicate with the mayor's office and they can get a phone number for them to reach out to that supervisor, or, you know, if they're
Absolutely.
having trouble with language or something.
What we'll do is we'll give all the necessary phone numbers, my office, my cell phone, and the supervisor that'll be there.
Okay.
So between all of us, you're gonna find someone that's gonna be able to.
I've already got, of course, Mr. Gomez's direct numbers and things, so, yeah, we'll be able to stay in
That
touch.
would answer your question. They would have. I can even post a phone number on the property that people can call us if they have. any.
But it would be an excellent idea. All right, Susan, I think you're next.
I got some papers for you, which, this is from the area that they were concerned about, they didn't even know this was going on. And we didn't understand how come, you know, there wasn't something sent out or something. I mean, how can you bring, I live right there. I mean, just one block from that area. And it's kinda hard to imagine that you're gonna put 90 plus people in a building, in a neighborhood with kids and elderly people that don't know them, they don't speak the language, you know, and there is a big concern on that. It's a big concern for us too. And, you know, and farm stuff, I understand that. We was raised on a farm. And believe me, we picked pumpkins up and watermelons and you name it, we did it. And it is hard work. But the way things are today, people can't help to get worried about things that's going on everywhere around them. And there's a lot of not good stuff happening in Indiana as well. In Seymour for one. And people worry. It's normal. And I just don't see how that they can just bring something like this into a town and just, it don't matter what the people say, or, I mean, they're not given a chance, they're not asked, you know, or they're not told. It'd be nice to get a letter so they be prepared, but it would be pretty bad just for you to drop that many people off, and one day, there they are. It would scare them half to death.
Well, that's why the post was put out as soon as we had all the facts together.
Right,
Plus the fact that Mr. Gomez was here at the last council meeting
right.
and did outline the program, so it was on public.
You're right.
The YouTube, so that it's not like it's being done behind closed doors. The information has been out there.
But it is, because a lot of people here, the people that I talk to, they don't get on, they don't know, because they don't get on Facebook. I mean, they're older people, they had no clue. And they said, what am I gonna do? I'll be scared to leave my house. I mean, it's a concern, it's something people need to think about. There's a lot of elderly people that's lived here for years and years, even in the neighborhood where I'm at. And, you know, it's just, to me, it's, you know, I'm not knocking them, I am not racist, I've been called racist, I'm not. If it was 100 white men, I'd feel the same way. I just want you to know that, because it has been said. But I have friends that's Mexicans, and I'm not. And I just don't want nobody just to go off and think that I am. But I just think that whenever something like this comes in your community, when it affects so many people, that there should be something else besides Facebook. When you're in that, we didn't even know. I wouldn't have known if somebody didn't tell me. So I wouldn't even have known. But I work all the time and I don't get on Facebook. And that's the way a lot of them feel. They were shocked. And I said, you know, and I told them to go on there and listen to it, and that there was another meeting coming up, and then we were supposed to have a hearing. And a lot of these people would like to came, but I got some calls and said it's just too bad to come out, because they were the older ones, the ones that was really concerned.
Well, like I said, the most important thing, Susan, is that we did our homework by checking Odin and Scottsburg, and all we got was positive reviews. I mean, I admit the very first time I heard it, there was a question mark,
Right.
and that's why we did our homework. And that's why I had Chief Lebowski also check with law enforcement. And all the reviews that came back were positive. And so as soon as we knew that, then we did post it. And the purpose of this meeting was so that people like yourself or anyone else that still had questions would be able to ask Mr. Gomez or one of us, you know, about the facts of the matter. But, I mean, I wouldn't sit here if I didn't think that this was overall a good thing for the community. I mean, I understand it's a little different for those of you that live real close.
Yeah,
You're gonna be more directly affected
right.
than the rest of us are. But I do know that in terms of the fact that you own a restaurant, you also have a great opportunity to benefit from this, as well as the other businesses in town.
Well, I've had some pretty bad experiences when they brought them in for Lehigh. People would come in, there was about 3 or 4 different groups that came in. And, but my last group, which they came in and they ate and they drank and everything, and they just got up, there was 3 of them, well actually 4. One was a kid, probably about 14, and then there was a couple, and then there was an older man. And the older man was the one who kind of tried to talk to the other 2, they just kind of sit there. And, well, they, when they got ready to leave, the guy and the girl got up and walked outside. And the older guy got up and he went to the bathroom. And he was in there for a long time. Well, when he came out the bathroom, he just went right on out the door. And so I went out behind him. And I tried to talk to him, but every time you tried to talk to him, they would just go like this, you know. I don't know, or basically, you know, that's the way you made me feel. And so he stood out there and he kind of like he was arguing with him or wanting to kind of argue, and I just kept telling him, you need to pay. You got a ticket. And he walked off and got halfway across the road and turned around and said, have a good night.
Well, you know, there's one big difference between the K4 people that were here. They were spread out all over town.
They were.
They were not supervised except when they went to work. These men are gonna be supervised 24/7. We're gonna have their phone numbers, we're gonna have their contacts. If we have a problem, if you have a problem, you can call me, you can call the supervisor, you can call the police department. That situation is not going to happen with this group of men.
I hope not.
And,
I hope
certain-
not. And
I'm
I'm not
certain
doubting
they
him.
won't.
He seems like a very nice guy.
and you mentioned about alcohol, and
Yeah.
that's in their,
If I may say something.
contract. Go ahead.
Like you said, our men are supervised all the time. One of the things that we told the businesses in Odin is we have a restriction on alcoholic beverages in our housing facility. We recommended there is a bar, again, 2 blocks away from my other housing facility. And I went there personally and I told them, I said, please, I can't not make you do this, but don't contribute to the alcohol. So that, you know, anybody that's under the influence, whether it's, you know, a migrant worker or a citizen, it's not gonna understand reasons. I said, please don't contribute with the alcohol because we don't wanna cause a problem for the town.
Right.
Well, the first season, and I will say this, in Mexico, tipping is not very common. So they started serving my guys alcohol, and one of the issues was that they would leave not paying, but not tipping. So, but then that started creating issues for me in the housing facility, so I went back and said, please, alcohol is not permitted. Now, I cannot prohibit that outside of the housing facility, but whenever they come to the housing and they're under the influence, then they're still violating the program's rules and my rules. So I don't think you'll have that problem. In the residents, most of the time, these guys are very helpful. If they see you doing something outside, they'll want to help you for free. I mean, they just, it's something that's, it's their culture. You know, they want to help people. I mean, they're not going to come work for you all day long, but if they see you doing something, they want to help you. And I think you'll see that. And I understand your concern, just like I told everybody.
Yeah.
It's intimidating to have 90 people a block from you, 2 blocks from you, but they're always supervised.
Well, I heard you saying on there that, the alcohol was, prohibited, or not allowed, or whatever, on the premises,
Yes,
on your premises.
but when they come back, if they're under the influence,
So
they're still breaking the rules.
so they're not, okay, because that's what I thought, well, they can go out here somewhere else.
But like
You
I
know.
said, because they're supervised, we have to drive them. Now, and I don't know if there's bars around here,
Yeah, one right in walking distance.
Okay,
That's what I said.
we don't know, but we have the same issue, we have the same thing in Odin, we have a bar in walking distance. I'm not gonna lie, the first year we had these issues, but then once they knew me and they understood my rules, they understood that, yes, you're losing a sale because they do like alcohol, but because they're violating my rules when they come back to the housing, they can't go out into the street.
So how many supervisors do you have for
We
90?
usually have 2 supervisors for every 50
50 people.
Yes.
So you'll have
4,
4 staying there?
yes.
Okay,
So, and like I said, we'll post a phone number, we're always gonna be available. You know, if you call my cell number in the middle of the night, I'm gonna answer, because not only in Mitchell, but in Odin, I want people to know that we're not here to cause any trouble.
yeah.
We're not here to cause any harm. We really wanna stay for 2.5 months, get our work done, and then we all go back home, There was a lot of concern in Odin in the first year.
Yeah.
But after the first year, they understood, just like the mayor said, they're not free men, they're supervised. And that eliminates a lot of these matters, like at your restaurant, where people wanna walk out without paying.
Yeah.
Because
See,
if
we
they
have
do
the
that,
lounge too.
if they do that and you call me, believe me, I'm gonna find out who that person is, and they're gonna pay you. And they're risking to lose their job, because, again, we supervise them. Now, we can't supervise them, we can't be behind them 100%, but I say we're behind them 90%. And anybody's welcome to call us, call me, call my supervisors, so that we can address that issue. If they ever disrespect anybody, they can call me, if they ever did something wrong, they can call the authorities. And, they're gonna be punished just like anybody that would do that.
Well, we just had several bad deals, like the thrift stores. When I heard that, well, I have the antique store, and my sister has an antique store too. And we had trouble with the other people as well. And they would come in groups, and they would go. Well, there's one of us.
Right.
And both of us has caught them in there taking things. I caught one of them in there. It was Persimmon Festival time. And luckily I just walked up on them. They didn't realize it, but I come down one of the aisles and they were standing over there, and I walked right up on them. And then they just turned around and put stuff down, and out the door they went. And I didn't have any trouble after that. But I mean, ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous to have to deal with, you know,
I agree.
but
I do wanna say, it's a different group of people that you're gonna be seeing.
yeah.
And
Well, these were just kinda like turn loose, you know. And another thing too is a concern I kinda wonder about, if you're putting that many people in one building, how's the sewer and stuff gonna hold up? Because just like we had trouble with the building across the road up there, we have trouble over where we're at. And, with all that extra, how's that gonna work? I mean, are we all gonna have trouble or it's all backing up in it? Cause I mean, it was coming up in her sink. Cause there was a bunch of that lived in that one building,
That's
and it was
because,
gross, I mean,
that's because the sewer line for those two buildings went together. Well, that is not the case with the church. The church goes straight to the main line.
so that wouldn't cause any
It
trouble with
won't cause
anyone
trouble
else.
with the homes in the neighborhood.
Yeah, cause I know a lot, if it rains a lot and stuff, I mean, we can have trouble at our house. So, you know, that ain't that far from that building. And I didn't know how how it runs and I don't know that stuff, but, I mean, I would hate to have to live the way that she had to live in that, or stay in that building, it was not good.
one thing you mentioned, you know, you've had some bad experiences, which
Yes.
that's understandable. I think what was mentioned, Jose earlier, was that there was, when they went to Scottsburg, stayed in a motel, and then people thought they were part of the group in Seymour.
Correct.
Which, you know, just because there was a different group in Seymour, where they was having trouble with, but it wasn't part of this group. But once they found out how these guys operate and their rules and regulations, then, you know, the information kinda cleared up a little bit. And
Yeah.
found out, you know, who was doing what, so it's understandable you have that.
Yeah, it's a big concern when you hear, oh, well, we're gonna not drop 90+ men off one block from your house. You know, I mean, it is a concern.
And you mentioned that probably, what, a good portion of the time that they're there, they'll be out in the fields.
Yes, the majority of the time we're out.
In the fields.
You're not gonna see them every day.
No.
I know 90 men sounds like a big number when you see them all together.
Yeah,
But I don't think the only time you will see them all together is the day they leave. Because they all bring their stuff out to the parking lot and they're waiting on that charter bus to go home.
yeah,
Odin had a Facebook page and I think, if you go back to it, you can see where people posting, and now over there we had 250 men. The whole block was full of workers. And, people were commenting on, hey, they're going back home, and somebody did say, well, how do they house 250 workers in that building? We did it. We gather them in certain areas, and then from there we ship them. So the only time you will see 80, 90 men together is when they arrive and when they go home.
I think one thing that I've heard you say over and over and over is that they're gonna drop them off.
yeah.
That's not so.
Well, it
They're
would
not
look
just
like
dropping
that.
them off.
It would look like that if you bring in a bus and they unload a whole load of bus, especially if the elderly people seeing that, they would freak out on it. There's a few of them that's worried now, and I don't know enough about this. I'm just trying to learn it from what I've kinda heard and everything else, but, it's just something that you worry about. I mean, you do worry. And like I said, I don't care, I mean, these are from Mexico, okay? And it wouldn't matter if it was a group of men coming from Kentucky, that's where I'm from. It wouldn't matter, you bring that many men and you leave them in one area. I mean, that's kind of a scary thing, and it don't matter where they're from, but it's just the fact that getting the word out to what's going on where people can kinda stay up on things and kinda know, you know, we used to get the paper, and I don't think there's hardly anybody now that takes paper. So, and, you know, people don't know this stuff, and whenever it's just kinda just thrown in, it makes it kinda hard on accepting. You know, nobody knows. And today, the unknown is scary. I don't like anything that I don't know what's going on. I wanna stay a little bit up on it, and I don't think anybody else does either, but.
Well, I think that's one thing the mayor done, and of course, we had Jose up here, was in November meeting, is that correct?
Yes, the
November.
November meeting.
And went through probably twice as much stuff as what he did tonight. But, the mayor and Troy and Cheryl had looked into the backgrounds and did their homework on other communities and what went on there, and their responses was overwhelmingly pleased with them. And then, you know, we could have just said, well, you know, the council will give them their, you know, our welcome, that we'll welcome them here. But we mentioned in our December meeting, December we talked about it, but then we felt that it was good to have a public meeting with Mr. Gomez come in, and he could, if he had questions, he could answer them instead of you asking me a question.
Right.
I get on the phone with him, but you're here straight from the horse's mouth
Right.
to say,
Well, you know, I mean, you all can do the things, I guess, the way you want to, but it would be, I mean, I don't know what kind of communication that you have with the people here in this town, but it would seem only fair that, I mean, people ought to vote on it or do something and figure out if they think they're, you know,
Well, do you think?
I feel, and other
Lehigh
people
came-
feel.
Do you think Lehigh came to the city council and asked? for
No, they
permission?
didn't, but look at all the problems that was brought up, the
Well,
problems that we had, and getting them in them buildings and you
how
can't
many-
get them
and
out.
there was like 800-900 of them,
Yeah,
and they were staying all over the place,
Everywhere.
non-supervision.
yeah,
And, you know, that's where a lot of the problem's at, and
Yeah.
that's not, you know, Mr. Gomez has expressed several times how their program works. And
Right.
I think we have to give them a chance, and, you know, we gotta be good neighbors too. They wanna be good neighbors, I think we have to be good neighbors as well.
well, they won't probably have to worry about me because I'm hardly ever home, so I work all the
They'll be
time.
coming into your restaurant, I'm sure.
Yeah, but, you know, and, but that was the biggest concern. I didn't want this just dropped off on us. We had an issue before, y'all probably remember that Verizon thing. Oh, they went around to everybody, they said, and we signed the papers. Ain't nobody come and talked to none of us that I talked to. Never come to me, and it was right there. And then they say that causes cancer. We've done I mean, you know, that C word is a scary word as well. But I don't have issues with you. I hope you don't take it personally.
No, I understand.
You know, and one thing I am thankful that you offered phone numbers and information, because on the other stuff, we had nothing, absolutely nothing. Who was we gonna go to? You
Well,
know,
if you may, you know, I don't wanna say it like this, but these are not free men, they have a contract.
yeah,
So that makes a big difference.
yeah,
You know, they're not going to do whatever they want because it terminates their contract.
you wanna see, if they have a bad experience or they don't fulfill their commitment, then you ship them right back.
Yes.
And
they
out
don't-
of
they
the
don't-
country.
You know, it's not good for the town, it's not good for me to have an employee like that,
right.
that will not follow the company rules and the federal rules. So yes, we do, we immediately terminate their contract, and we've done that before in Novi with one of our workers, so.
Well, I appreciate that, because that's a big thing to be right. You know,
Yes, I understand.
I'm right on the corner, just the opposite corner,
Correct.
so, well, I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, Barb, you're up.
I wanna start by doing this, because you gave a lot better presentation this time than you did the
Okay.
last time.
Well, thank
Cause there
you.
was a whole lot of confusion
Yes,
and a whole lot of unanswered questions.
thank you very much. I was nervous
So I
first
do
time.
appreciate you taking the time today to really let us know what's going on.
Okay.
And I was dead set against this, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I was dead set against this for the wrong reason. Because I personally dealt with the last bunch in a very bad way.
Well, I'm
That
sorry to hear
affected my
that.
business, that affected everything. But that was unfair to you.
Well, thank you.
But now you have answered a lot better questions. You was more understanding, but I still have a couple for you.
All right.
My biggest concern is when you put that many men together and there's no women. When they're out, what about where kids are walking around, or young ladies, or even young men? Will there be any issues, like if the Monon Trail, where there be, I mean, are they,
Yeah, they're well behaved. And we sort of let them know. One of the things that they clearly understand is they're in a foreign country. And anytime, even if I go, I'm from Mexico, and if I go to Mexico, my culture here is different than when it's over there. And so we try to teach that. We have not had those issues. I
well, I
can,
know the last time when you was up here, I heard you talking about at the hotels, there was, troubles with,
we had that
drugs
one
and
instance.
prostitution.
Yes, we had that one
That
instance that I
worried
talked
me.
about,
Because
where, and unfortunately, I, without offending anybody, if there's prostitutes here, I can't, I can keep them away if I see them, but if I don't know who they are, I can't keep them away. But that's one of the positives about having our supervisors in with the workers, is that if they see any of that, they restrict it. They're like, nope.
I ain't too worried about the prostitution, I'm worried about the kids, I'm worried
Yes.
about the,
No, you will not have that problem.
Okay.
I can personally guarantee that, because, like I said, most of the time we're out working versus, but whenever we come home, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, people wanna just shower and go to bed. And then, same routine the following day. So,
But you was a lot more thorough this time, and I really do
Well, thank you.
appreciate that.
yes,
because there was way too many gaps
Yes.
in that last one.
yes, well, I couldn't think of everything that I could
Yeah.
tell you, but that's why I said, well, I want the people to know who I am.
Well, you did a lot better job, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That was one thing with, they mentioned with housing, having control over the housing, where in the motels, you can't, or patrol the public, people coming in and out.
And I can't tell them not to not be there,
It would be hard to
because it's
control.
not mine.
Yeah,
but what belongs to me, I can follow the rules
Yeah.
to the T on what the government tells us, and I can't do that at a hotel.
Any, other council comments or questions? All right, as I said before, the council's approval is not required. This comes under state rules and regulations. I do think it would be, if the council wants to consider just a vote of approval based on the presentation that Mr. Gomez has made, that it would be a nice gesture on our part if someone would like to make a motion to that effect. This is not an ordinance, it is not a law, it's just a vote of approval.
Mayor, has anybody else asked questions yet, besides these two ladies?
You have to sign up to ask questions.
Huh?
I said you came in late, so if you've got a question, go ahead.
Sign up or just ask questions?
No, go ahead.
Alright. some of you know,
We need his
I'm
name.
not from here.
We need his name.
Shannon Payton.
Okay.
You ready now?
Yeah.
A lot of you know that I didn't grow up here. I grew up in California. I'm not a racist feller. My children, 4 of them, are half Hispanic. Got a brother-in-law who came here from Mexico. I was a green card holder. What I do have concern about is all these guys got work visas to be here. They're all legal. Second, why do they have to be babysitted all the time? Why are you having to watch them all the time if they're legal?
Because they're under a contract.
Okay, the contract, who owns that company?
I do.
You own that company. So these workers are getting a paycheck each week?
Yes.
Does that paycheck come from you or does that come from the workers or the employer?
It comes from my company.
Comes from your company. Are these guys paid a minimum wage?
Yes.
They are.
The federal government mandates a minimum wage in every state. Every state is different.
Right. And how much money do you take off the top of that to run your services? Because you can't do it for free.
No, I get contracts from our farmers.
Excuse me, sir, that is a business question that is none of your business.
It is my business.
Not how much you
It
make.
is my business.
It is not.
Because I grew up in California and I know what they do. One guy, he has a slew of freaking people working for him and he undercuts them and takes their money. Bullshit. Don't tell me I don't have the right to ask a question.
All right, that is enough. That is enough, Shannon. If you wanna be civil, you can talk.
I am
We're
talking.
not gonna
I
have
was
you
talking.
You're yelling now.
I am yelling now
Okay, then calm down.
because I have a right.
Calm down.
Freedom of speech in America. We still have that.
Okay, well, you're not gonna yell in here.
I can yell if I want.
I will ask you to step out.
That's
You cannot.
fine.
All right, you cannot yell in here.
Now, can I continue?
Continue, as long as you don't yell.
So, that creates a problem. That don't just create a problem in our community. That completely does everything across the United States. Why we're in the mess we're in now. Because he's Hispanic does not bother me. Those men coming here do not bother me. But when you start screwing with their pay, he ain't going and remodeling the damn houses because he's that generous. This less people. This, which affects us all. That's my problem. That's my big problem. It's wrong. We let these migrants come over here. These people say they care about them. They're marching in the streets. If they really cared, they would pay them a decent wage. It's modern day slavery is what it is. It's what it is.
You're dictated right by the government, what you pay them. And if they don't work, if they can't work because it's weather, then they're dictated that they get a minimum. You have to pay
Government
them.
dictates what the minimum they're supposed to have.
And whether they work or not, if it's weather's bad, then they still get paid.
Not necessarily.
Well,
I mean, it's like any employee. If you don't go to work because it rained, nobody's gonna pay you. But the days you go to work, there's a mandated minimum wage. And I can see where you come from, but any
You know
business-
exactly what I'm talking about.
No, any business has to profit to be able to make, to be a business.
Sir, don't bullshit me. You know as well as I do that there is a lot of Mexicans who get crews and they take them out and they work them, and they cut off the top. That's how you make a living. Is it not? It's not how you make a living? Okay. My problem is not because they're Hispanics. My problem is not because there's 90 of them. If they all want to cram junk in a box over there, fine. I don't care if they create chaos. I'm not calling you. I'll take care of myself. Some of these people can't do that. That's not the problem. The problem with it is why we're in the trouble that we're in this country right now, because people abusing systems and screwing people. You all don't know this because you're from Mitchell, Indiana. You didn't grow up and see it. I grew up knowing it. Like I said, I have a brother-in-law who's a green card holder. I'm not dumb to this game. I just want to make sure these people are paid fairly, that they're not getting assistance from our county while they're here.
They are not getting assistance from the county or the city.
That's it. That's all I'm wanting to know. Because when you start getting that many people, they start signing up for different things, we're reliable. Now we're responsible. Because we're kind of paid it.
That's not gonna happen.
And that's fine. These are just questions I wanted to ask. So when it comes down the line, I have something to stand on. If they're legal, why do they need to be in a program? Why do they need him? Why can't they work anywhere in the United States, making a decent wage? Ask yourself that. Why do they need a babysitter?
Because if an individual farmer tried to hire workers, how long would it take him to come up with 90 workers?
All he's got to do is drive over to freaking Home Depot and Seymour, and he can have freaking 100 of them probably.
He may not want the workers that are in Seymour. Because I have heard they have had some problems
Well,
over there.
I'm sure they did.
Because they're as individuals.
We're all human. You're going to have problems regardless. You're going to have a few problems out of his guys too. May not be major. Hell, if you hired me, you might have a problem with me. I'm just asking the questions I asked because it is a legit concern.
Did you get your answers?
No.
You did.
Mm.
What didn't you get answered?
Huh?
What did you not get answered?
I want to know that these guys are paid a fair wage.
He said he was.
So they get W-2 forms. Okay. That's all I asked.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know I didn't sign up, but can I ask a question?
She has to go up there.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Then I have a big cheat sheet on it. Okay. I got real quick questions. I'm feeling positive about this, and I have great confidence in you guys. You've done very well as a council so far, and our clerk is super. I mean, just absolute. Anyway, all right, with that said, I just want to be assured that there is a process in place in case something goes south. Whether it might not even be your guys. What if some ne'er-do-wells from Seymour, which you say is a sanctuary city, come in and try to infiltrate your guys? You know what I mean? What safeguards do we have in place?
They will not
to
have
deal
a
with that?
contract, and therefore they will not be able to work for Mr. Gomez.
Yes, I get that part, but in dealing with situations that could happen in the town, when it's not your guys, but it's other guys coming in, you know.
You can't control him.
You understand? What safeguards do we have? Who do we call if something happens that's bad. Like for instance, that if I get accosted on the walking trail by somebody, or if I find somebody coming out of my garage,
You would call the police
Call the
department.
police.
I just call the police. And I can be assured they'll be there within a few minutes.
A reasonable time, yes.
Reasonable. Okay, well, because I know how short-staffed we are, because we're a little town and we're not rich. I understand that. I just wanna know what safeguards we have. And I guess I wanna be reassured about that, because I like to hope for the best, but plan for the worst.
Right.
You know, if stuff goes south, I wanna know there's a process in place to deal with going south. That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
And I hope that we'll develop that. I understand that will be developed as it happens. Okay, anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Come back to the same question, if the council wants to consider like I said, this isn't an ordinance, it's not a law, but just a vote of confidence for Mr. Gomez and his project.
I'll make a motion that, we, welcome Mr. Gomez and his people, and that we will do anything we can to help any situation, good or bad, you know, we'll work through anything. And that, we welcome them and open our community to them, and we expect the best from them and the best from our, community, citizens, to act together in this venture.
I second.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
He's got a question.
Brian, right here.
I came in late too, and I apologize for that. I did have my hand up, and I didn't wanna bother you guys on what they were.
They have to go to the podium.
Podium, you gotta go to the podium.
I understand that. I just wanted to make sure it was okay for me to go to the podium. My name's Brian Pugh, you should know that. Real quick questions, and I watched the first video, and welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
And, the two properties that you mentioned, that one of the pros to it was we would be getting property tax paid on those. Was nobody paying property tax on them before?
Correct, your churches that do not pay property taxes.
Okay. So that's good to know, that's a plus for me. Okay, and you did mention, and this was brought up before too, the alcohol and prostitution. And I know you don't allow it on your property, and I understand that, and I appreciate that too, but I hope it doesn't cause an influx of that in our area. I'd love to see pros and cons on all this stuff too. Assimilation, as far as your workers and stuff goes, and I know we talked about the problem with the understanding each other. And is there any program or anything that your business, since you do own this, that your business tries to help these people learn how to speak English?
We are the ones that brought up the apps, because like I said, we've been doing this since 2016, and believe it or not, I have workers. I've been doing this since 2016 with H2A. I was doing it before, but even the counties have come up to our living facilities to offer English classes, and as much as we try, they don't seem that they need to have it because they go back home. So in all these years, very little of them understand English. That's why we almost mandate that or we help them find an app that they can at least somehow communicate with you. May not be 100%, they'll be able to communicate.
No, that's fine, I just wondered if
Yeah,
you
but yeah,
did,
no, that's-
I just wondered if you did anything
We did,
from your business to try to help these people as far as that inability to communicate. And when you talked about the three places where you do your produce work. Salem hit dead center of that. Now, we're just a little bit farther away, but Salem is absolutely right dead center of those three areas. Did you got,
We just couldn't find a location, I mean, a place, in
Okay.
place to do what we need to do.
okay. Okay, and you did mention that and you said there was one instance where somebody violated procedure and that person was sent back. You gonna have one instance of that in how many years?
Since 2016.
Okay, and you said that if they did do it, you've had no other people that have been coming back intoxicated or anything that you know of, and, cause you said they were in jeopardy of losing their job.
Right, right.
Okay.
We have, again, at the beginning, when we started in Odin, first year, we did have to terminate, I don't know, and I'm just, whatever I remember, 4 or 5 people, because they came back intoxicated.
Mhm.
And they knew the rules. The rules are not just my rules. The federal government also is very involved in this program. That's why I gave a website for the gentleman here. He can look on that
I got
website.
it.
They're all legal. You can find up to their face who these people are. And so that's why we enforce our rules that also are in combination with the federal government. So I don't get in trouble by terminating somebody's contract when they violate the rules.
Just 2 more quick questions. Do you do any drug testing whatsoever?
It's not required. The program doesn't require that, so we have not done
So
that.
that's our government's less down there then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cause I have to do drug testing, so. No, that's good. And I pray to God that we don't have to meet again in a bad situation.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you for the time.
All right, I will, entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming. It shows that you have an interest and that you care about our community, and I appreciate that.